In a downtown high-rise across town, Beatrice had checked into the most expensive suite at the Four Seasons Hotel. She was already lying back on a chase, a towel wrapped around her head, cream on her face, and cucumber slices covering both eyes. One technician was attending to her feet, while another one buffed her nails. Beatrice luxuriated in the comfort of the plush hotel bathrobe. She was finally going to be free of Fred and his obligations, and free of that little brat, Jake. The divorce would bring her as much money as she would ever need to live a comfortable life. And now, she could do whatever she wanted and see whoever she wanted. Beatrice sighed a contented sigh. However, her reverie was soon interrupted by the arrival of her mother, Cheryl. "You stupid, selfish, foolish girl," cried Cheryl as she loomed over her pampered daughter. "You need to go back to Fred, immediately." Beatrice just laughed. "He threw me out, Mother, and I'm glad. No more boring, stuffy social events, no more pretending to like that child. I'll get millions in the divorce. Everything I did, everything we worked for all these years, gone in an instant, because you couldn't be bothered to treat the child nicely," hissed Cheryl. "Oh, Mother," sighed Beatrice. "Your theatrics are tiring." "Beatrice, do you somehow not remember what's at stake here? What if Fred demands a DNA test?" "He already said he was going to demand one, but Jake was his son, no matter what the results say," Beatrice yawned. "That's when he thought the issue only related to his paternity. But what happens when he learns that Jake, well, that is more complicated altogether? What happens then?" "It hardly matters," answered Beatrice. "He loves that boy, dotes on him, spoils him even. That isn't going to change. Do you understand that the second he finds out about the child's genetics, he will want answers? And there will be an investigation. And you and I could both go to jail. Jail, Beatrice. Do you get that?" "I don't see how I would be the one going to jail," Beatrice said. "You're the one who stole him from the hospital. When your father died, I used the insurance money, all of it, to pay that wretch of a girl to carry those babies. But she changed her mind at the hospital. She wanted them, after agreeing to hand them over to us. I had no choice. We had a plan in motion that couldn't be stopped," said Cheryl. "We both knew that the only way we would be set for life was to have that CEO's son wake up from his coma, see you, and be introduced to his son. And when he didn't remember you, I had all those photographs made. He believed you then. Pictures of you and him on dates. Pictures of a proposal that never happened." "Well, he was certainly at the wedding," laughed Beatrice. "It was in all the society pages," Cheryl continued. "The man was in a coma for 3 years. He woke up groggy and we showed him things that weren't true, that we faked, and presented him with a boy and told him it was his son. He believed it. You were home free, Beatrice. He believed it. He believed it all." Cheryl eyed her daughter with contempt. "I'd go down for kidnapping and fraud, and you down for fraud and for being an accessory to kidnapping. Do you think that isn't going to come out during a messy divorce? Think again." Beatrice rolled her eyes at Cheryl. "I've been diverting funds for years at this point. Fred has so much money he wouldn't even notice. A little here, a little there. We'll be fine. And then the divorce ruling will leave us much more than fine," Beatrice scoffed, not worried at all about her mother's fears. "Great. So we add embezzlement to the list too," hissed Cheryl. "This just gets better and better. Did you not for 1 second spare any thought for the prenuptial agreement you signed before marrying Fred? The one his lawyers insisted on before he was allowed to get married." "I haven't cheated on my husband, Mother," Beatrice pushed back. "That will help, certainly, but I have Sid Feldman reading through the fine print. You may have ruined us, Beatrice, and all because you couldn't even fake being a good mother to that little boy. You could have just been nice. Would that have killed you? He's not a bad kid. Mother, he's so annoying. He's whiny, he's demanding, and he hates me. Beatrice, began Cheryl, if you had any kind of maternal instinct, you'd recognize that children don't hate. They can't. They can get frustrated when they don't get what they want, sure. But they don't act out like Jake does unless there's something going on. What are you saying? Asked Beatrice. I'm saying that you trapped yourself in a vicious cycle. You started hitting the child. Then he acted out against you. Then you hit him for acting out. It goes around and around. How do you think that will play out when he's a teenager? I don't care, Mother. I'm out of there, remember? I won't have to be around him anymore. The standoff was cut short by Cheryl's phone, which rang to the tune of a Beach Boys song. Cheryl answered. Sydney, Cheryl said. Talk to me. Beatrice watched her mother's face widen with shock. Cheryl covered her mouth and flopped herself down on the chase next to the one Beatrice was sitting on. Beatrice waved away the manicure and pedicure technicians and tried in vain to overhear both sides of her mother's phone conversation. Oh my God, said Cheryl. Then that means... Cheryl's voice trailed off blankly as the attorney continued to deliver his take on what Fred and Beatrice's prenuptial agreement had in store. Okay, thank you. We'll be in touch. Cheryl hung up the phone, and her hand fell limply at her side as she brought her other hand up to her eyes. What? Beatrice asked. What did he say? Beatrice, began Cheryl, you must find a way to make up with Fred immediately. We have no choice. Do whatever you have to do. You have to get him back. I don't understand. What did the lawyer say? Asked Beatrice ominously. Cheryl's eyes brimmed with tears, and she took a moment before giving her daughter the news. You're penniless, Beatrice. Beatrice's stomach sank. Penniless? This has to be a mistake. There was one thing she knew for sure. She sure as hell wasn't going to stay penniless for long. She had to get to the bottom of this. Fast. And no one, least of all Fred Smith, was going to stand in her way.
Hi, Quinn here. And if you're wondering what happens next, click on the link in the description to listen to the full audio series. You can also watch the next episode here in the playlist.